We're going to be joined shortly by Kearney Warren, who is a candidate running for city council in that city. Again, just outside of Philadelphia, a little further down I-95 along the river, a community that has certainly seen some better days economically. But when we hear from Kearney, we're going to hear more about her city of Chester and why she is running for office. So Kearney, welcome to the program. It's so great to see you.
Thank
And
you.
great to have a fellow Pennsylvanian.
Yes, thank you, Hillary. It's so good to see you again.
So I don't know if you caught any of that interview with Bart, but we were talking about New Orleans. Obviously, it's a city that's been hit hard by the climate crisis. And to some degree, when I think of the city of Chester as a Philadelphia resident, Chester has also been really hit hard and in different ways. I think, Chester is one of those cities that, unfortunately, like Camden, New Jersey, is just a hotbed of, environmental racism, quite frankly. And so tell us a little bit more about your city, what the good things and the bad, and what has motivated you to run for office in your city.
Sure. Well, I was born and raised in Chester. It's been my home for generations, and there's a lot of good here in Chester, historically as well. We have a rich culture here in Chester. Martin Luther King Jr. got his start here in Chester. He attended seminary here. He preached his first sermon here. This was a stop along from the north to the south to the south to the north. And unfortunately, we are really suffering a lot of issues. And environmental racism is just one of the many issues that we're experiencing here. And as you know, environmental racism affects Black and Brown communities, poorer Black and Brown communities at greater rates. The residents, we live closer to the environmental hazards, the facilities that are causing air pollution. And so here in Chester, it's no different. We have Covanta, which is the largest trash incinerator in the nation, is located here in Chester. They burn up to approximately 3,500 tons of municipal waste and industrial waste per day. We are also suffering with solid waste of sewage. Right now in Delaware County, the western half of Delaware County, when they flush their toilet, it comes to Chester. And the Solid Waste Authority right now, they're deciding whether or not they want to double the waste that we're receiving here in Chester to include the entire county's waste coming to Chester. And with the trash incinerator, so we have the trash incinerator and we have the sewage incinerator. With the trash incinerator, we burn trash. We burn the country's trash. We burn New York's trash. We burn Ocean City, Maryland's trash. We burn Oklahoma's trash and more. And we burn 21 counties in Pennsylvania, the trash of 21 counties in Pennsylvania. So, and with all of that air pollution, we know that it causes health issues. The American Lung Association did a report in 2019 listing all of the health hazards that come from living around air pollution. And the thing with that is here in Chester, it's not just Chester. The air pollution has approximately a 17-mile radius. So it's our surrounding communities as well. Although we are here, we're affected by it the most. It does travel. Those people, the residents that are living near Covanta, the trash that's burned causes toxic ash, and so the residue, the ash, it falls on neighbors' cars and their porch furniture, and so children can't go outside and play, and so we have a lot of health issues here in Chester due to air pollution. We have a high rate of cancer here. We have the highest children's asthma hospitalization here. Our low birth weight is about 2 to 3 times the state's average. We have low infant mortality rates here. So we are in a climate crisis and a public health crisis here as well. And that public health crisis doesn't just fall onto environmental racism. It is the access to food as well. It is the gun violence that we're suffering with here. It's all of the social issues that forgotten and under-resourced communities have. This city has been forgotten. It has been ignored, except for when financial decisions are being made. And those financial decisions that are being made are not including or benefiting the residents. One can argue that some of those decisions actually harm us, like not having good community partners or good community neighbors in businesses.
No. Well, thank you. I mean, that is a lot that you guys are grappling with. And so I assume that part of, your reason for running for office is to address some of this stuff. So tell us about your solutions, what you're campaigning on. What's the message that you're trying to bring to the voters of Chester?
My main message that I am bringing to my neighbors, because I am a resident here, is the power of the people. So my slogan, which is not a slogan, it's the truth, but it's people, power, purpose, because we the people have the power to live a life of purpose. And I want my neighbors to know that we hold the power in our hands. We demand what happens to us and what doesn't happen to us if we stand up and raise our voices. Change cannot come when you are quiet. You have to stand up. You have to be vocal about the things that you don't like. And sometimes what's very unfortunate, Hillary, is that when you're used to certain behaviors, certain actions, you oftentimes can normalize what you're experiencing, and you don't realize that what you're experiencing is different from what others are experiencing, or that it's not right, that it shouldn't exist, it shouldn't happen. So I want to empower my neighbors. I want to empower the residents. And so I am running on to reduce the lack of transparency here in the city, the lack of opportunities, and the lack of services here, and move that into successful communities, healthy communities, and safe communities. Again, I am a person who is an advocate for healthcare, and I am a advocate and activist for social justice and racial equity. And a lot of the issues that my community suffers from is from a lack of equity, social inequity, racial inequity. And it just destroys me when I attend different types of meetings and I have to plead the case for human life in front of people who don't look like me, when sometimes they may not give you the respect of even looking up at you. And so it's very troubling. And I want to make a real difference here. We've had new leadership. We've had new leaders here, but we haven't had a new mindset. We've had the same type of mindset, and I'm bringing a new mindset to my community.
That's great. Well, I imagine that running as a Green is something that brings a new mindset to the political scene in Chester. Tell me why you decided to run as a Green, and what have your conversations been with people who perhaps have been just so used to this sort of two-party system that, like that in some ways has been normalized and people don't realize that there's something different. So what is it like to run as a Green in Chester?
To run as a Green, I'll answer. I think you mean to run as a Green and then as in Chester, or was there two questions? Or both? Okay.
Yeah, I guess why did you decide to run as a Green, and then what has it been like taking that message to folks in your community?
Well, Hillary, America, the country, we are in a disarray. COVID has laid bare the cracks that has been in all of our systems for years, particularly our healthcare system. I come from SEIU Healthcare Pennsylvania and United Home Care Workers of Pennsylvania unions as a political organizer and a member organizer. And so working for a union and being a member of a union, your mindset is a little different from the average person or the average politician, I should say. You come from a place of for the people. And so I am not about a party, I'm about the people. And the Green Party's values ring with me nonviolence, ecology, social justice, democracy, and then the platform and then the 10 values that the Green Party stands on. It just rings so clear, and it deals with everything that is happening in society right now. Those 10 values, the four issues on the platform deal with everything that we are experiencing right now in society. And so, as a Green candidate, I've made history in Chester. I am the first minor party and the first Green candidate to get on the ballot here, which is very exciting. And it has not been a problem. Surprisingly, at first I was surprised. I thought that it would be an issue with the residents because that's what was being told to me. And I think that's a kind of oppressive. There's a reason why things are told to you to try to stop you from achieving them. So, but once I got out knocking doors and talking to my neighbors, no one cared. No one cared about a party. I didn't even really get asked what party I'm with. And if I did, if someone asked me what was I running on, what party I was running with, it didn't matter. And I'll tell you something. This is across parties, whether they were Democrats or Republicans. They did not care. The residents here are just so ready for a difference. And I want to be that voice that's not afraid to speak up. And that's another positive piece of running as a Green. I have the ability to speak truth. I don't have to think about, am I going to upset a donor? Am I saying the right things? I can speak and say whatever it is that I want to say that is truth, and how I feel and what the people feel.
Exactly. Wonderful. Well, speaking of that, freedom to speak the truth, I assume it's because of, partly because of not taking any corporate contributions or, anything like that. That is one of the things that distinguishes us as Greens. Though you do need donations and contributions. So why don't you tell us, are there any milestones, any fundraising goals you have in this last stretch? We're about a month out from the end of the race. How can folks get involved and support your campaign?
So first, I just want to thank my donors from the first half of this race. Thank you so very much. You have no idea how appreciative myself and my team we are of you. Thank you to the Green Party of Pennsylvania for endorsing me and donating, and SEIU Healthcare Pennsylvania. I could not have. This has been just overwhelming for me because I did not know what I was getting into when I decided to join this race at the last minute. I was not in the primary. I didn't know I was on the ballot until August. After August 2nd, a week after August 2nd is when I officially started campaigning. So I am late into this game, but the people have supported me. So right now, to get over this last hump, I am in such a great position to win. I have the largest social media presence right now on social media. than my opponents. My rates of people saying yes that they will vote for me are really high, and I have an advantage as a green candidate. I can talk to all of the voters. I'm not party specific. I can speak to everyone because my campaign is for the people. It's for the voters of Chester. So to get me over this last hump, we really do need donations. We need money for our sample ballots, which is very important. You know, if you run for office, the sample ballots to be handed out at the polls, very important because people go by imagery, and if you give them the exact what the ballot looks like, they're more inclined to go ahead and vote that way. Mailers, we would like to send out mailers for this last hump. And then social media boost. Although we are doing very well on social media, we want to boost our posts so that it can reach more more people. And then finally, very, very important, we need boots on the ground. I have a very small team, and I'm so proud of the accomplishments that we have made thus far, but I really do need boots on the ground to get me over the hump. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, now I understand why you see a candidate and you think their race is going so very well, and then all of a sudden, you know, they drop out the race, and you hear, well, they ran out of money. Not ever running for office, I never understood what that meant. Now that I am running for office, I understand what that means, and I don't want to be in that position. I would love to continue to make history with the Green Party, not just being on this ballot in this predominantly Black city, but to also win a seat as the first Green candidate in Chester, Pennsylvania, and to further my desire to change legislation in healthcare, for voting rights, for racial justice, for education, police reform. You know, so I definitely need as much help as I can get to carry me over the next hump.
Nice. Well, we wish you the best of luck. I know my local, we're planning to be out for you in a few weeks, knocking on doors. Really, it's been exciting to see your race. Chester is a relatively small city, and I think it's a very doable and winnable race. And so I wish you the best of luck, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. That was Kearney Warren, who is running for city council in the city of Chester, Pennsylvania. And it's warrenforchester.com. That's Warren, the number 4chester.com.